and so randomly. I'm out at an appointment in my car, and since I had so many issues getting my live going over the weekend, I figured I would just test this out while I have a little bit of spare time because I don't have that very often. Um, and I'm not really looking for anybody to join, but I'm going to hang out here for a minute since I'm waiting for my appointment anyway. And if anybody joins, we'll play for a little bit. I want to start doing this more, like lives just randomly while I'm out and about, bringing you guys along so you can see how I navigate my days. One of the things I love to do is self-inquiry. I talk about it all the time. So whether you're Advaita, non-dualist, or whatever your approach is or philosophy is to navigating this life stuff, it doesn't really matter. Inquiry is a really simple tool, and it unravels the mind's overthinking capacity. Whether you just go to, who is this thought arising for? And then you'll hear something say me, or something inside kind of kicks into this I am. And then you turn it around again and you say, and what is the origin of that I? What is it? Take me there. And you'll notice kind of a quietness settle over you in this. And this is the turning of the equation. When you start challenging the mind and not just believing everything it spits out, things quiet is the way I like to express it. And they settle down. And this constant conversation that's going on or trying to go on in the mind has to find a new way to be in this silence. And that silence harmonizes. You're part of that harmony. You're part of that balance. You're not part of this chaos. And the easy way to notice this, if anything is separate, a thought, an experience, these constant movements around us, already that's pointing to a dualistic view of separation. So already you've stepped out of the state of this moment. This moment has no separation. And thoughts will keep pulling you into the storyboard. They'll keep trying to entangle you and set up camp with these thoughts, none of which are true. Now, what's fascinating about this for me is as I sit with the who is that thought arising for, what is this thought about? Take me to its origin. And that calming starts to take place. That harmonization just expands. And it's not a doing. It is a space making room for itself to just know what its truth is the only way I can express it. And this is why I love nature. It's why, you guys, I talk about being in my bubble more and spending more time with the deer. Sorry, I've got a hair on my face that I can feel, but I can't find. I love being with the deer and nature because they do this naturally. They are not in this dualistic thought bubble. They don't have these concepts that us humans do. We appear to be the only ones that were gifted this, so that we could have the idea that we have free will. Ooh, that's another one that's going to bring up some stuff. Oh, I see people coming in here. Hello. No, I do not speak Russian. I wish I did. I wish I did. So when you're around nature, when you're near a riverbank or around the trees, or you're just celebrating the moment, notice the mind will want to label everything. It'll start, there's the tree, there's the river, there's the thing, and it'll keep doing that. But meet each one of those with, and who is that thought arising? Who is that label arising for? Take me to the origin of that label. And the more consistent you are, this is the only tool, you guys. This is it. And it's not even a tool, it's a process that does itself. It's not a doing, it's not a technique, and it's not, I don't know what other words to throw against this, because words are just going to keep pulling you away from the simplicity of it. Just try it for today. Meet every thought, meet every single thought with, and who is this thought arising for? And then wait. You'll notice something kind of saying me, or, taking ownership of that. And then again, show me your origin. And then wait. And you'll notice what starts to happen. Just this settling and harmonization and this balance. And that is the place where the gap gets wider and wider. It won't take long. Another thought will come right in. The ego is a slippery little sucker, but something you need to be mindful of. The ego is not a problem. It's not. The reaction to the ego is the problem. The ego is a gift. It gives the energy we need to fuel in the right direction. We're just not firing it off the right way because we get into the story. Let's see if there's questions in here. Hi, everyone. Oh, my goodness. Some funny comments coming in, and I'm obviously not going to speak to all of them, but someone just commented to smoke a blunt, and that'll solve everything. Well, yes, it may open the veil up for that moment, right? Anything can do that, but that may be a temporary settling. And I'm not opposed to that at all. Please hear me, that there is no right or wrong in this equation. It's a process. And what I've learned in my own experiential journey since my near-death experience in 2008 is that even all of these other senses that have opened up that we call psychic or medium or channel, they're all part of this collective, right? So naming anything right or wrong or good or bad is already taking you out of the state of allness, right? As soon as you start calling things right or wrong, or a blunt is good or a blunt is bad, you're back in the dreamscape. So I guess what I'm saying is the blunt may work, but it's not going to start to rewire the old synapses. It's not going to do that. It's going to give you a momentary glimpse through the veil, and it may soften things for sure. But inquiry is going to take you all the way on the journey of unraveling. And that, to me, is going to keep expanding those gaps, which is where we would like things to be, where the gap is just continually deepening itself. And again, this isn't a doing. It's a process that does itself when the energy of the I gets out of the way. The energy of the I is the whole problem. It's reaction to things. Of course I can laugh. I can laugh at everything. This world is meant to be joyous. And, I don't talk about drugs or alcohol on here, except for my near-death experience. Obviously, my overdose was a result of taking alcohol and drugs, which I had never experimented with. So I was a very sensitive soul when I did that. Since that time, a lot of people have reached out and asked me if I've, attempted any type of drugs to recreate my near-death experience or out-of-body experiences or anything like that. I'm very honest about everything, you guys. I'm an open book, so I have nothing to hide. But no, I have not. I've never felt drawn to try DMT or to go. I went to Costa Rica after my near-death experience, and I had access to anything. When you're already exposed to the awareness that you're not this body, when that has already happened, the deepening is just doing itself. And so I just don't feel led to do anything to amplify. That to me isn't necessary. And I also am not drawn to watch other people's near-death experiences. And it's not because I don't respect them. It's just, how can I say this as clear as I can say it with this thing called language? Everything that's had an experience is part of this allness. Why would I go out seeking something separate from that? Every near-death experience I'm watching is just taking me away from what's already infinite knowledge. So if I wanted that infinite knowledge, I would go the direct path. Does that make sense? And so people send me near-death experiences all the time, and they say, have you seen this one? Have you watched this one? It sounds like yours, blah, blah, blah. And I love that. I'm not discounting anybody's experience. I don't feel drawn to them anymore, to watch them. Let's see. Well, overdosing and, gosh, all of that stuff is all part of this dreamscape, but I have to be really careful what I say here. And yet I don't. It's like one of these weird things with language again in speaking to this and being mindful that a live feed could attract a young person who doesn't put context to my verbiage. So that is the only reason I'm being cautious in this live. I don't hide behind or have any fear of anything, but I am very mindful that there are younger people who may come on and just pick a couple words up and run with that as the context without having some undertone of why I can speak about this stuff. Before my near-death experience, I was 38 years old when I committed suicide. And I was never a drug user or alcohol user. I mean, obviously I had my young, fun college years, no doubt about that. And I had them, trust me. But I was never, that person who partied or drank a lot of alcohol. So when I reached this place of unaliving myself and my choice was what to use, I obviously thought that through a little bit, and that was the path that I ended up taking, was the drugs and the alcohol. But I had never been somebody who had partaken in those types of things. It wasn't a journey for me that I experienced. Now, when the senses opened up after my NDE and I started getting labels like psychic, medium, channeling, and having these experiences of what felt like ghosts or demons or expressions of other things, initially my fear, because I wasn't inquiring, was that those things were very real. But thank goodness this internal connection that came apparent to me in my birth guide, Bernadette, to say, don't believe everything you're thinking, really started to open this translation that led to this non-duality Advaita path. And I don't discount that any of that had to come in the chronological or appearing chronological way that it did. Space and time are obviously illusions, as is all the stories. The story of a separate Kelly, the story of a Kelly who was a victim for 38 years, the story of a Kelly who felt like life was always happening to her. And then all of a sudden, having this near-death experience and coming back into the physical body, but everything that I had known had changed. What I had believed as my identity, what I had believed as who I was as a human being, all that had changed. And now I'm apparently seeing dead people and guides and angels and archangels and ascended masters. And I had no choice but to roll with it, right? What were my options? If I had told the doctors in the ER that those were the things I was experiencing, my guide told me they were going to lock me up, and I don't doubt that for a second. So something intuitively within me knew to trust this guidance system that I didn't know anything about. Let's see. Video Gamer 13. My whole near-death experience is out there. No, I did not have any kind of experience with what you refer to as Satan. No, honey, I didn't. And I apologize if you're new here and I call you honey. It's not me being derogative. I'm from the South originally. I call people sweetie and honey. It's just a natural thing. I'm not trying to be demeaning to you at all. It's a great question. No, I did not have an experience of Satan or a demon. But when I was seeing what felt like demons over me after my near-death experience, which I think you were picking up on, was the mind's interpretation of those energies that were around me. And they were not demonic. They were not evil. That was my interpretation. And as soon as inquiry started coming into the foreground through the work I was doing with my birth guide, then I started learning to ask the questions that started to turn this whole movement around of believing there was something separate that could harm me. And once that cleared, I recognized these things that were hovering over me, not as demonic at all, not as scary at all. They were actually very loving beings. My interpretation in the dreamscape what was creating that fear. And as soon as that could release and let go, that's when things started getting amazing. That's when I was able to start to work with this energy I call allness, which we are all a part of, whether you refer to it as God or source or light or universe. There's nothing separate from it. So when people say, yes, I get oneness, yada, 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 I get it, I get it. As soon as you go to the yada, 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 you're already past getting it. You've already lost the plot. Oneness is not just some spiritual coined term that sounds good in a bunch of books. Connecting with that energy which you are a part of and having all the other erroneous stuff which is blocking your realization to that, there's nothing to yada yada over that at all. So as soon as you say, yeah, I get oneness, but you've already missed the plot. There is no but. There's no but. There's no other. There's no separation. In the story of Kelly, the experiences seeming to happen that we call psychic or channeling or mediumship are just the connection to all that is. It's that simple. It's a frequency. It's a radio connection to all that is, which I am a part of. It's why I love the line from the Bible. My Father and I are one, but my Father is greater than I. What is greater than I? Show me that. The thought will arise. Take me to that. Take me to the origin of that. And then keep plugging that into the inquiry. Everything else will settle down. And in that space of stillness, things will start to reveal themselves. Not because they're new, but because you finally left enough storage space in the algorithm of your dreamscape for new data to come in. It's that simple. We trip over this because we want it to be more complicated. We want it to have hierarchy. We want it to have time and space. We want it to have structure. We want to believe we have control of it in some capacity. We want to invest in the idea that we have free will, because if we didn't invest in that, it can be very terrifying. Everything we've ever believed to be true is being taken away from us. It's unraveling. And that's what happened to me in my near-death experience. Remember, I killed myself. I unalived myself. Sorry, YouTube. Gosh, it's crazy that I have to put it that way, but I unalived myself in 2008 because I believed all of these stories of free will. I believed everything was happening to me. I believed I needed to leave my body because no one needed to have me here. I believed I wasn't worthy enough to raise a beautiful son and have a beautiful partner and live a beautiful life. Those were the destructions. My connection to this idea of free will was actually what was killing me. And as that started to unravel, I could see my Father is greater than I, and all of this that I've worried about is already resolved just by the definition of duality. If there is a problem, duality says the solution is here as well. Notice that. We don't want to sit there long enough to notice that gap. And that's where the winning is. The winning of freedom, which you are. It's not something to get. When you had that overnose, I love that you're listening. I love that people are joining in. People are coming and going, and that's fine. Like I said, I just wanted to test this live. And I really wanted to throw up this process in a very simple way in the middle of my day to show you how easy it is to do. So I'm sitting out front waiting for my appointment. And as I was driving here, my mind was busy. It was buzzing. It had all kinds of ideas of lists and tasks and things. And so I started to feel that. And I just quickly said, to who are these thoughts arising? And it already started to settle, but there was still a little bit of a lip there, of an energetic lip. And so I said, show me the origin of this thought. For me, what happens now is just a complete peacefulness sets over the whole body, and it stabilizes itself, and then it integrates. And I'm not doing any of it. And I just feel this calm presence come over the whole body, a lightness come over the energy, and a peacefulness settle into the space around me. And those who know me, who see this happen within the way that my presence changes, say that they feel a shift as well. Now, this is not woo-woo. Think of it. Everything is atomic, molecular. Everything is tiny atoms and molecules moving very quickly. This is scientifically backed, not woo-woo. What do you think those molecules and atoms do when they start to come together with other people's molecules and atoms? Right? It's why you can walk into a room and the whole energy shifts one way or the other. One person can shift a whole room. We are all capable of this. It's how we learn to move with the energy that we are. So if you have a whole box of books, if you're following a ton of gurus and people who are purported to be spiritual teachers, and they're giving you all these practices, and they're telling you have to meditate for hundreds of hours and all of these things, just notice those are all energies moving you away from the simplicity of this message. Some people won't bite this because it is so simple, but I promise, stick with it. Keep doing it, and things will start to deepen. They'll settle, the gap will get wider, your heart will expand, you'll start to feel this buzzing and humming inside your soul, and then you'll be able to share that with other people in a meaningful way. So I have my appointment. She's waving me to come in, so I'm going to log off now on this live, see how it looks, since our other one didn't go so well. And my request, now that we've done one of these, is you guys start posting your questions now that you see how open I will be in a live. start posting your questions down below. And then I can do another live to answer those. And we'll just keep these going. We'll keep it simple. We'll keep it so that you're just joining me on normal days and we can kind of talk back and forth. That's what this is about. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a guru. I don't have anything to sell you. I'm someone who had a profound experience, whether you call it an awakening or whatever. I unalived myself, returned to the physical body apparently, and all of the senses were awakened. And since 2008, I have just shared that journey, not with any other intention than connecting with a community that also is intrigued by this. So I have nothing to sell you. Full transparency, I do one-on-ones with people who would like to unravel things. Those I do charge for. That's my life work. Just like any other life work, whether it was a hairdresser or a counselor or a veterinarian, obviously I'm going to charge for that work. It's time that I'm putting into that. But everything else on my channel is free. There's free audiobooks, free videos, there's free everything, you guys. Go tap into it. And for the people that have a problem with my one-on-one charging, I think you're really lost a little bit in what's going on here, because it's no different than being a counselor in a counseling office. I'm meeting with people one-on-one to help them navigate a life situation. That's it. The rest is just there for free. So enjoy what you can. So much love to you guys that stayed with me. For those that watch on a playback, put your questions down below. Let me see if there's anyone's here. Private session with me. If you go to the channel, the community post tab, you will see my contact details right in any of my posts. It's just kelly.sammy@gmail.com, and there I will respond to you about any one-on-one bookings. If anyone is wanting me to do interviews, I'm very particular about what channels I go on, not because of any other reason than I'm mindful of where those land and what they're doing. That's as much as I'm going to say about that. So I've got to go. She's really calling me in. So much love. So good to connect with you guys, for those of you that were here. Oh, now I have to figure out how to turn this off. So funny.